All right, he is the 2017 NFL Coach of the Year, 2018 NFC Champion head coach, Sean McVay, already 2 years down and starting year 3 as an NFL head coach. Welcome back to the program, buddy. How are you?
Thanks. It's been a while, Mike. It's been
a
while.
Hard-hitting stuff, okay, right off the bat.
We're ready to.
I'm bringing the heat right here, okay? I don't know if you know how to.
You're not wasting any time,
I'm
Chris.
a little disappointed. I mean, you know, the power rankings in the NFC West, they've been thrown out of whack. You know that? I mean, you're no longer the best-looking coach in the NFC West.
You know
Cliff
what?
Kingsbury is the new title holder.
I think
I'm putting you at 2, and I'm putting Kyle at 3.
Pete is just
he's good. Now, muscles, you win the muscle award.
So I'll beat him up then.
You'll beat him up for sure. There's no doubt about that.
I love it.
How you feeling after 2 years of doing this job now? Because the sense is you're going to do it for like 40 more years.
No chance. I feel good. You know, it's funny actually because I would say that this year I felt better than I did after the first year, and I think a lot of that is, all right, how can you have a legitimate understanding of how important that sleep is and being more efficient with your time and how you maximize every single day. You know, certainly the season is a grind, but love this. To say that I'll be doing that for 40 more years, that means that that I'm still coaching. If I'm still doing this 40 years from now, I will be shocked.
But seriously, you look at guys like Belichick and Carroll, right? 66, 67, and they've been doing it all this time.
Sure.
I mean, I know I look at it and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be dead, and he's still going to be coaching. I mean, do you look at them and say, that's what I want to do? I want to still be doing it when I'm that age?
I think what I have more than anything is such a respect that they've been able to sustain and do it so well at such a high level for so long. You know, because it is a grind. I mean, you know, the mental toll, and I think every single year hopefully provides an opportunity to be more efficient. You know, surround yourself with great people, which we've been able to do in these first 2 years. But I wouldn't say that I look at it like that. I think there's more of just an admiration for their sustainability and how long they've been able to do it. I mean, Wade's the same way. I mean, you look at the production for what Wade's been able to do for so long. But I know I love it right now. But if I don't figure out how to start balancing it out and getting a little bit more sleep, I'm probably going to burn myself out.
With the balance, like how do how do you do it? How do you stay in shape? What is it? How many hours a night of sleep per night? You know, what kind of music? How do you check out? What do you do?
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing from a sleep standpoint, early on in the week, you know, it's anywhere between, 4.5 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I try to be really mindful, and this is something that I noticed a big difference because I want to be sharp on Sundays.
Sure.
Is 2 days out, really those Fridays and Saturday nights, trying to really at least get 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
And you know, it's not necessarily 8 straight, it's any sort of accumulation, and that was really beneficial.
You might take a nap is what you're saying?
Yeah,
too?
absolutely.
Good for you.
And that's something that I think I definitely felt a difference just in terms of, how, your focus, your concentration, how quick you're able to be, some of the decisions that you inevitably have to make on Sundays, and then even just popping in for 10 to 15 minutes right after practice or right before and doing a quick little, cardio or something
just
like
get
that.
a sweat going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, those are things that have been helpful, but I also think just being more efficient where you kind of know some of the things that you're inevitably going to have to navigate in that role that, you have no idea until you get into it.
Yeah.
And being able to lean on people, but then having a better idea going into year 2 where you're able to self-reflect, I think was a little bit more helpful.
When your head hits the pillow, are you a guy that it takes a while to decompress and fall asleep, or are you right out?
It depends. I usually hit it pretty quick, but then I usually am waking up sweating, dreaming about, whatever defensive pressure.
Double coverage or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, no, I sleep pretty well. And but I am, but that internal clock goes off pretty early in the morning, but I get tired pretty early as well.
Do you have like crazy dreams where you're like, because I know that I'll have like dreams like I'm late for the show, for example, like I was today.
He was late for the show.
Let's not talk about that. But do you ever have like
Fine.
weird dreams, like you're coaching a game and there's like aliens landing? I mean, just like we all have those misfiled dreams.
I used to not have my helmet going out to like the field.
Really?
I still have that dream, even though I'm not playing anymore.
I have had some dreams. I had a dream. I can't remember who it was, but there was a media reporter that I actually was playing. I forced a fumble and picked it up and ran it for a touchdown in the Super Bowl leading into the game. I think it might have been you, Chris. But I'll tell you what is more likely to happen with coaches is you get later on in the week, you take a nap on like Friday because that's usually the day that you get out a little bit earlier.
Right.
And this has happened to me multiple times where you'll fall asleep on your couch, maybe at, let's just say it's 5, and you wake up at 7:30 at night. You're like, oh my gosh, it's the next day. I overslept.
You don't know where you're right. You don't know where
and you get up.
Right.
I mean, I've heard of coaches that have actually gotten into their car and started driving to work in those types of situations.
Right.
Usually mine is about a 2-minute panic where I'm running around before Veronica looks at me and says, "What's wrong with you? It's Friday night."
Yeah.
That's always the worst feeling, though, when you wake up from a nap, you wake
the
up in the middle of the night, like, where am I?
Yes.
What am I doing? Where am I supposed to be?
Yeah, it is. It's a bad one. It's part of the football culture. How about like right now? I mean, do you feel like you're in catch-up mode, going into the Super Bowl as far as free agency draft?
Yeah, we're definitely behind, you know, but I think that as long as we don't try to rush through things, just being efficient, maximizing those days, but you're definitely way behind in terms of your scheme evaluation.
Yeah.
I really haven't had a chance to dive into a lot of these guys just draft-wise, and so much of that is predicated on, well, what's the feel of our team, the guys that we want to re-sign?
Yeah.
Then how do you always project not only the 90, but being mindful of 53, and then also what's your projected 46?
Right.
So a lot of those things play into it, but we're definitely behind. That's why you're excited about, kind of doing some things in the meantime where, you like doing this. This is what's great about our jobs. We love this. So
Sure.
Studying players, studying other teams, studying ourselves is something that we're excited about, but it is something we're going to have to be a little bit more efficient and probably have a little bit longer days early on in the offseason than we're accustomed to.
Does it give you more appreciation for, I know you got appreciation for the Marty, but for New England and how they've been able to do this so long?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, Chris, that, and I know you have a respect for them, but people say after that game, oh, you get back. And you're like, no, you don't get it if you just think that, because it's so hard and there's so many things that the year entails. And that's why you got to enjoy one day at a time the offseason. And for them to just be able to reset the way that Bill's able to keep everybody focused, never allow the complacency to set in, it's unparalleled. I mean, it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah. If we give you one mulligan from the Super Bowl, and we've resisted talking about the Super Bowl
Sure.
as long as possible.
You
get
talk
asked
about it
all the time. But one thing that you could do over from that game, what would it be?
Well, here's what I would say to that. There's a lot of things. I think the biggest thing that you try to do is, okay, when you're specifically a play caller, you want to have a feel for the flow of the game. And obviously, early on, they clearly declared that in the early downs, they were going to play a front structure and more of a quarters principle game where they were topping it down. That was something that we had a feel for early on. But what I would do differently is make sure that you're putting your players in a position the way that you practice and prepare to have an ownership for some of the things that we activated. So it's one thing to call a play. Yeah, as a coach, it's easy to say, well, you're calling something for quarters coverage and we didn't do this. That's an excuse. You got to make sure that you're putting your players in a position to have the ownership. And so I think with the way that you prepare, having a better contingency plan, knowing that, yeah, they put a lot of man coverage on tape, but let's make sure you got a better all-purpose menu, some different things that we can activate that give Jared, our other players, a better chance to, have success. And that's what I would do leading up to it so that they kind of understood and had a better feel for the intent of some of the calls.
Can you give us an example of one situation where that may have if it had been different?
Yeah, like I look at it like the fifth play of the game, we were calling a play versus quarters where we had Cooks leaning out, not the one that everybody talks about where he was in the end zone. Where
you mean the other one, the first time you called the cross
that to me was
post?
even better to look for.
There was the one,
because McCourty didn't replace, so
right.
we're playing a quarters principle.
Right.
The safety jumped Robert Woods coming on the high cross.
Yep.
And in a lot of instances, Cooks was leaning out with Gilmore on his outside half and taking it across. And if McCourty doesn't back up, that's where you've seen Jared. He'll come out of that drop and immediately his eyes are big down the field and he's launching that on one hitch.
Right.
And I feel like if I had done a better job echoing and articulating the intent, knowing, hey, I'm calling this one because we're expecting quarters, this is what they were doing, different than what the week of preparation entailed.
Right.
I think that he probably makes that play, or we give ourselves a chance to, and they did such a great job. You don't want to take away the credit the Patriots.
Yeah,
they
we
did
understand
a great job.
that.
But to me, I think it's one thing to say, oh, well, and Chris,
Yeah.
we're calling the play for this, but did we really put the players in a position to know the intent,
right.
the mechanics, and then be able to problem solve or execute it and know, here's what we're thinking.
Right, yeah.
And when people hear that, they think, well, why didn't you? Well,
we talked about the play
you got a lot of stuff to do. You got for everything you have to do, even with 2 weeks to get ready, there may be, all it takes is one play where it wasn't communicated the way that you wanted, because there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much you can cram into the guys that's where it just all kind of lines up and manifests itself.
Yeah. And the reason I say that play too is because if you're able to hit that and make them pay, then I think it forces them to make some adjustments where we never really made them pay, so they were able to just kind of play that consistent front structure, coverage structure on the normal down and distances, and then they were really able to dictate it as opposed to, you know, what we want to try to do offensively.
Yeah, never scared them out of anything.
we never made them pay for that, and you know, we had some chances, but ultimately I could have done a much better job. But that one play, if you said one, I mean, I could think of about 30 in the game, but that one stands out because it's that early in the game, and then you hopefully think that it affects and alters, you know, the way that they have to adjust and adapt to us, as opposed to us trying to make them pay, and, you know, weren't able to do that as a result of a lot of things that, you know, me not putting our players in the right spots.
You're a kid genius, like he makes fun of you.
Not right now. I'm Boyd Blunder.
No, that's really good. I like that. I like that. That's very, very good there. But I am always amazed about you and everything. Your approach, the way you conduct yourself on a daily basis. Also, just your appearance, which matters. Like, and I know this might sound silly. Do you have like a barber who comes to the facility, or do you go to a barber? Do you go to a hairstylist?
That means a lot. You know, I do think she does a nice job with my haircuts.
She does. You got a smoking hot girlfriend. No disrespect that way. I mean,
I'll tell you, it's
you're doing a good job, right? My wife has a crush on you.
I am the man, aren't I?
Yeah.
No. You know what? It is. I do have the barber will sometimes come to the facilities if need be, or it's right by us, and you know, I get a lot more recognition because they're like, "Who is the dud with the freaking pretty chick right there?" My girlfriend's got more followers on Instagram, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take it, right?
Right.
I'm a lucky man.
Hey, one of the things the Patriots have impressed us with over the years, their ability, no matter how the season ends, with the Super Bowl win, with the Super Bowl loss, a loss in the playoffs, they always find a way to forget everything that happened. And I'm sure that's easier said than done. What's the biggest challenge from your perspective for you, coaching staff, everyone, players, everyone? Forget last year and focus on 0-0 going forward.
I think you just said it, Mike, and it's a consistent approach, and really it's that daily operation, and it's that complacency you never allow it to set in. I mean, for them to really go to 3 straight and then lose it last year and be the only team since '72 to come back and win it is unbelievable. But I think what they do such a great job of, just from my understanding from the outside in, is every year presents new challenges. There's a focus, there's a concentration on what they want to do to get better. The complacency never sets in. But I think one of the things that you'll hear us talk about moving forward that really helps keep me on track is, you know, you want to learn from the past, produce in the present, and prepare for the future. But people that say, oh, you're just going to be right back, you know, that's not the way to look at it at all. Yeah, you came up short in the Super Bowl, but to even put yourself in a position to compete requires that one day at a time focus and concentration. And I think that's why it's important to have people, coaches, players that love football, because then you love the process that the year entails, whether it be the off-season program, training camp, one game at a time, and putting yourself in a position to hopefully win the opener.
All right, you got some good problems to have because you're so talented. But how do you balance all of it? Dante Fowler and Ndamukong Suh, you know, kind of what's your approach here?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, Chris, is figuring out with our guys that are going to be free, how we prioritize that within the framework of, you know, the budget and the cap. And a lot of that is predicated on, all right, let's identify those core pieces that are coming back. Let's have a look at what does the draft, you know, entail. That's where you really rely on less and those guys getting ahead of us. What does free agency look like? And then clearly we've explored the trade avenues as a way to acquire players.
Seems like you make a splash every year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that I think is good where there's, you know, you never want to be able to shy away from an opportunity to be aggressive if we feel like it makes us better. Dante Fowler's a big guy that we want back. I mean, he's an important part of it.
A 3rd round pick for him,
absolutely.
Too.
And I thought he made a big difference for us.
Definitely.
You know, there's certain guys you just feel the explosion. You know, he had 2 game-winning plays for us. When you look at Seattle, where he forces the fumble, and then you look at New Orleans, where forces the errant throw by Drew. John Johnson makes a great pick. So he impacted the game. I thought he played great in the Super Bowl.
He was
amazing.
He was
violent. Made a lot of plays in the run game.
Getting out on the back and coverage. He really was phenomenal.
He did a great job in that.
We got to let you run, but real quick, still texting with Belichick even after the Super Bowl?
Absolutely not.
Another one too.
No, you say congratulations. He's got better text than I do, actually.
Is he more likely to go eggplant emoji or poop emoji?
You know what? I don't think I can answer that one. I don't know enough about the emojis to answer that.
Right. We got to let him go. Sean, congratulations. That was great. We look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.